Welcome, everyone. It's a great privilege to be with Patty Greer, Chris Burres. I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre, and this program is about helping people grow their hair back. You know, I really had to grow my hair back, so I did it. I grew my hair back, and uh, that's what this whole program is about, is helping people grow their hair back. And you might say, well, why did Alfred want to grow his hair back? Well, you know, everybody has their own reason, and Patty's going to talk about her reason, and Chris will talk about his reason, but I'll tell you about my reason. And this is really weird. You see all these Native American, this is from a tribe, a First Nation here in Canada. This is some of our housemates who are First Nations actually painted these from their First Nation and gave them to us as gifts. So they're here, and I'm actually from a DNA from a First Nation in the Caribbean. It's called the Taino on my mother's side. Although culturally, obviously the Tainos were wiped out by Christopher Columbus, but getting back to the hair, I read this article that said that in World War II, the U.S. Army recruited the Navajo to be their scouts. And because they had advanced psychic capacities, and they were using, as scouts, they could go in combat and they could scout things out and with capacities. But like everybody else, they subjected them to GI, government issue soldier regulation, which means they had to get buzz cuts. Well, when they got buzz cuts, what they found out was that the Navajo, their abilities as scouts disappeared and went down. And then so that they found out that what happened is that when they cut their hair functions as a psychic antenna. So you get all your input from your various, your various non-physical bodies, and your crown chakra is actually tuned to the interdimensional portals at our sun, which is a portal, and then it goes to the interdimensional portal of our galaxy, which the Pleiadians and which the Mayans call Unapku, and that's where the voice of God comes through. In other words, divine source. So you, with long hair, it's your antenna, and you're in tune with everything. Well, things are so challenging on the planet, and I'm writing books, and trying to communicate. So I wanted to get my antenna. And so that's why I wanted to renew my hair. So that's why we're having this program. Now some people might want to renew their hair because they want to appear more attractive in public, or they want to be more attractive, whatever, in relationships, etc. So I'm just giving you the broad screen. So Patty is the head of a company, and Chris is a scientist who's founded this company, and the company produces something that actually has been shown to help you grow your hair back. And I happened to take it, and look, it works. And so what I sought to do was to grow my hair back. It actually happened. So I'm going to turn it over to Patty, and I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and you can take it from there. My job was to introduce, so I've done my introduction.
Well, your job is also an honest testimonial from your heart. And look at your hair. It's coming in black, not silver. And Alfred does not have an issue saying he's 80 years old. This year in May, He turned 80. I turned 150, but he turned 80, and he's written all these books this year, hundreds of pages. And it's not just the hair formula connecting you back to the gods with your antennae. I think it's also has a lot to do with the fact that you've been taking the C60 Evo olive oil for years. This is the inside remedy to boost your immune system and your mental clarity, in my opinion. Again, only my opinion. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to pretend to be. But for me, it's been incredible for focus, and for you to write all these books at 80 years old and grow your hair like beyond where the camera can see. And it's black, not gray, says a tremendous lot to me. I called Chris. I was panicking because I was sick, like a lot of people, in the last few years. And my hair started to fall out, period. And I was, like, I've never had this happen. And I'm seeing in the drain after I shower, like, what? In my brush, what? Never happened in my life. And I've got big fat hair that's curly, and I brush it once in the morning. So luckily I only brush it once, but it was like, yeah, I can't afford this after a month. And so I called Chris and I said, okay, what can we do? And next thing I know, the guys came up with this incredible combination that you have to mix in your palm because it's so breakthrough that we have an oil formula and we have a water formula, and you can't mix them without an emulsifier, which is kind of gross and it's chemically and all these things smells bad, most of them. So Chris and Rob and the lab master all came up with a way that we can do it in our little paws, and I'll let Chris explain how as the scientist. But it works. My hair's back, my drain's going, I'm hungry, feed me. And I'm like, I'm just not playing. And my hairbrush is barely got some hairs in it. And I pull it out. I'm always looking, and I hold it up to the light. No, my hair's back. Yippee. And it only took a few weeks, maybe a month to be safe. So that's my testimonial.
Chris, you've got a let me see.
Mute issue.
How about that? Maybe I should unmute.
Now we can hear you.
It is amazing how it works when it's unmuted. So a lot of people might be wondering, like, what is it? Like, what is it that we're talking about? So let's first talk about the original molecule, the ESS60 molecule. I'm holding it up. If you're just listening, think about a soccer ball where the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. So you have a spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms. That molecule was discovered in 1985 at Rice University. That's here in Houston. And the three scientists who discovered it went on to win the Nobel Prize for the discovery in 1996. They won the Nobel Prize in chemistry. The material's amazing. They actually thought it would be toxic. And instead of being toxic, when they put it in a toxicity study, instead of being toxic, the test subjects that they gave it to, in this case, it was Wistar rats, lived 90% longer than the control group. So that was really kind of the pivotal research that shifted us in the direction of creating supplements. And if you've listened to Patty and I on the show before, you probably have the impression that we didn't wake up and decide that we wanted to be supplement people. Really, it landed in our lap, and our customers basically said, you need to be making this. And similar to when Patty came to us for this kind of hair renewal. So that's in the activator. That's the ESS60 activator. Inside of the gel is UTH29. Now, UTH29, effectively what happened for us putting these two together is our director of research came to me and said, hey, there's a peptide, and peptides are we naturally make peptides, and they naturally deteriorate as we age, with I think some sort of 40% drop in a lot of the peptides in our body when we even get into our 40s. So it's a pretty precipitous drop off. Well, this particular peptide has 30 years of peer-reviewed published research, and that research shows it to be great for improvements in skin and hair. And he's like, hey, we probably need to look at this. And we did, and we actually came out with our skin renew system, which includes the UTH29 and the ESS 60 activator. And then that's a lotion. That's a UTH 29 lotion. This is a UTH 29 gel. And I'll just do a quick little sample. We actually got to get a couple pumps to get it going here. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And so this is beautiful blue gel. And for each squirt of the gel, you actually use 2 drops of the ESS 60 activator. 1, 2, and then you mix that right there in your hand. You want to get those mixed well together. Get that activator mixed with that UTH 29 gel. And then really the way I do it, so I actually do this in the shower. We've got people who say right after the shower, but I tend to take it and I want to move my hair out of the way so I can get to the scalp and then just apply it to the scalp. So I'll put it on in a couple spots here, get it down to the scalp, and then you look at Alfred and have an understanding of what might happen. Now, by the way, there has been some language of, this will grow your hair back. We have to be careful. This has not been evaluated by the FDA. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. And we're sharing testimonials, which may, or you may assume, won't happen for you. We've just got to be honest about that. And that's really, we put those 2 things together, and the results have been amazing. I'm writing a book with a guy who's 75, and his hair, one day we're on a call, and he goes, "Hey, you see this wave in my hair?" And I was like, "Yeah, I see that wave." Well, I haven't had that wave in my hair since I was 15. So the last time he had the wave was 60 years ago. And he loves our product. Actually, every time he's about to run out, I kind of get a desperate text, and I send him some more. So yeah, it's the results are coming in good. The anecdotal testimonials continue to go in, and we're just going to continue to do research and make this available to people to try.
Because it works. Yeah, my friend Heather sent me a testimonial, and she was kind of stalling to give a comment because she wasn't really sure it was working, and she was having really bad clumps falling out. I didn't have clumps. When I brushed even carefully, it was like, so something, is happening to a lot of people, be it environmental, water, whatever, we don't know. But the combination of a lot of things is causing my hairdresser to say to me, my friend who's a hairdresser, to tell me that this is so common right now. So that's, for me, a testimonial that what happened to me and my friend is not abnormal. But the fact that both of us using this product, and very important in my opinion, taking the olive oil on the inside, because there's an inside and out healing process that needs to go on. And the thing about our olive oil is that it's more than 172 times more powerful than vitamin C as an antioxidant. It's a teeny little molecule that can fit into places vitamin C can't. So we're getting rave reviews about, wow, I've had something for many, many years, and all of a sudden I don't. These are the things I love hearing, and I read all the comments as best I can. So we know that the olive oil is creating rave reviews, great results. And if you build your immune system and then start working on your hair, you're going to get, I think, a lot better results if you do both inside and out. And I need to design the card that goes with the new hair product. It is so new that I'm glad that Chris showed us that he does this, and then he does a little parting. And I will say that I'm not quite as old as Alfred, but I'm pushing it. And all of a sudden I started seeing some little gray, in my crown here. So just a few minutes before the show, I thought, oh God, this has always worked. So I took the facial serum, the advanced facial serum, and I just put a little bit on my part, and I really don't see the gray that I saw before I put it on. Now, it might just be oiled, but I think, again, there's something about these products, the ESS 60, there's nothing it doesn't cure. I have healed stitches. I have healed a burn on my wrist. This was so bad, and it was like a big blister, and now you can hardly see it. And all I do is stick the ESS 60 facial serum or the olive oil, just around the lip of the bottle. It's just such a pleasure to be able to feel like it's the all around works for my body.
And also, for me, I mean, I'm just talking about my life and my work situation. I'm a 5-planet Gemini. That's why I ended up in law, journalism, writing, ideas. And one of the main things is that aside from hair, this C60 Evo gives you mental clarity. And that's the main kind of fuel that we need to perform our jobs and our creativity. It's like rocket fuel, I mean, you have your salads, you have, your stuff you can eat for sustenance, but this is like the rocket fuel that, okay, well, I'm going to produce this. Let me take some rocket fuel and shoom, and you do it. I mean, to me, it's like so simple,
That's
Anyway, am I articulating it, or is this like too off the wall for people?
It is that simple. Take it on a spoon before noon. Enjoy the benefits all day long. Sleep better at night. Small price.
Yeah, and it's mental clarity and is there isn't a profession today or any work situation or any living situation where mental clarity doesn't improve it. I mean, mental clarity is getting rid of that brain fog. Everybody wants to get rid of the brain fog, right? So, and most of the ads that you see on TV, are about getting rid of the brain fog one way or the other. Well, this is like a short circuit to getting rid of the brain fog. I don't know if I'm articulating it correctly, but
Chris, how does it work? Like the blood-brain barrier, like the mitochondria, how does it work? And that we're actually getting mental clarity.
Yeah, so you touched on it being an antioxidant. So that's actually, obviously really important, and I'll get into that a little bit more. It's also an anti-inflammatory, and with anti-inflammatory, we have to be very careful and talk about and the guidance provided by the FDA is absolutely right, which is we can say that it is an anti-inflammatory, at least as it relates to exercise-induced inflammation, right? So we've all had that workout or that day we walked a lot longer than normal, and we've got our kind of inflamed joints. And so we definitely are allowed, the FDA allows us to say that we address that. What the FDA doesn't allow us to say is that it addresses any other kinds of inflammation, because they just equate that directly to the diseases. So in diseases of inflammation, we're familiar with arthritis, we're familiar with Alzheimer's or dementia. A lot of diseases that we're dealing with on a regular basis are diseases of inflammation. And we just need to do more research to be able to say that concretely. What we can say is that it fits perfectly in an anti-inflammatory diet, right? That's a diet associated with the blue zone people. These are a group of people who have reduced incidences of stroke, reduced incidences of heart attacks, and ultimately go on to live longer. So we fit in that anti-inflammatory diet. Now, when you think about antioxidant, then we like to say that the ESS60 molecule is the boss. It's a buffering oxidative stress system. And this is kind of unique. And this is still a theory with some supporting research. So it's kind of well-founded, but still a theory. From the very beginning, when this molecule was discovered in 85 and the early 90s, we already knew that it could hold 6 electrons, 6 negatively charged particles. We also know from some research, peer-reviewed published research, that this molecule can get into the mitochondria. And if you'll remember, the mitochondria is the organelle in every cell, every single cell in our body, except for red blood cells, but every other cell in our body has mitochondria, and it actually has thousands, at minimum 500, sometimes 10,000 mitochondria in it. And they are the powerhouse of every cell. So it's their job to take the food that we've kind of processed and thrown into the blood system and convert that food into ATP, which is the energy source that our cells use to do their job, whether they're a skin cell, liver cell, heart cell, appendix cell, whatever the appendix does. So it is the thing that creates the energy. Now, as with most energy sources that we're familiar with, right? Just think about your car driving down the street. There's an exhaust. There's things that you don't like in this process. A lot of people may not realize one of the things that comes out of your tailpipe is water. Well, that's fine. Like if it was just water, we all be really happy that there's a water trail following every car, and who cares? But it also comes out with detrimental components, right? And we have catalytic converters to help convert those or contain those detrimental effects. Well, the mitochondria produces negatively charged particles, reactive oxygen species. These are things that are not good for us. They're the things that cause, current medical thought is that they're the things that cause aging. Inside the mitochondria, there are two, and they can be managed by antioxidants. Inside the mitochondria, there's two antioxidants typically. Glutathione and melatonin, the sleep hormone, which is interesting because one of our most consistent testimonials is better sleep. So you got glutathione and melatonin in the mitochondria helping to manage that exhaust that's coming off of that mitochondria, those reactive oxygen species, negatively charged particles. Now, we know this ESS60 molecule, the soccer ball shaped molecule, is in the mitochondria, and we know it can hold 6 electrons. We also are aware that our bodies get depleted of different components at different points. So if you've got a cell in your body and it's depleted of glutathione or melatonin, then those reactive oxygen species are just left to go around and do damage. And I kind of picture it like Bourbon Street, a bunch of drunk, rowdy people at the end of the day. They're running around breaking windows and cars, and normally it's the police, the glutathione and the melatonin that take care of them, actually irreversibly bond to them and get them down to the police station. But now we've got this ESS60 molecule that can work like a paddy wagon, right? It sits there and just collects these rowdy bunch of reactive oxygen species and just holds on to them. It doesn't irreversibly bond with them. It doesn't do anything other than prevent them from doing damage. And then when the body's able to replace that police force, that melatonin, that glutathione, that melatonin and glutathione can come in and irreversibly bond with those reactive oxygen species and then get them out of your body. And that's why we call it the boss, because it's a buffering oxidative stress system. And again, still theory, but pretty revolutionary and supported by the science that's published right now.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Just because my parents moved, and on my father's side, they are from Louisiana. So I did happen to go to Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street. Yeah. And I can appreciate all of the elements of your metaphor because I think it's correct. And also the damage that Hurricane Katrina did there. So I think that C60, if you're suffering any Hurricane Katrinas in your life,
in your experience,
in your experience, just to use a metaphor, and Governor, I was on the Conspiracy Show with the former governor of Minnesota, talking about Hurricane Katrina hitting New Orleans as a U.S. government false flag that they did to with scalar weapons.
Careful.
So if you have any Hurricane Katrina's in your life, I can verify as an old conspiracy theorist and author that the mental clarity given by C60 will really bring you back on your feet. I know that that's different from the rat studies, but when you give it to humans, our synapses just work that much more quickly, and we are, greatly ahead of the pack. So that again might be an off-the-wall comment, but I'm trying to insert customer comments that are relevant to what I believe could be classified as a miracle food, namely carbon-60, Evo.
Well, and we would be very, just for some clarity, we would be very, we make a very important distinction between carbon-60 and ESS-60, right? And I think that's worth
ESS-60. Sorry, that was my point. And my experience, because I know that there are a number of listeners that have come on to the StreamYard here, and they're saying, Alfred, go on to Before It's News and take a look at these news videos, and because I'm known as an alternative news person, and the reason why I'm known as an alternative news person is because I can process alternative realities very quickly, and part of that function is that, like the rats who began processing things very quickly, so they lived 90% longer than the normal rats. Well, I'm a human that's, processing, my brain stuff is processing stuff that much more quickly. I'm just hypothesizing here as a customer and as a layperson. This has nothing to do with the FDA. It's just opinion commentary. But that is why ExopoliticsTV has a role in what's called the truth movement. And it fuels all sorts of things. So anyway.
Well, the Truth Movement has invited me, I'm proud to say, to be a speaker this weekend on the Truth Tour. So my American flag shirt is not about anybody. It's about my country and the fact that I love my freedom. And what a great honor to be able to take C60 Evo to the Truth Tour with a bunch of really important people like yourselves and all the listeners that are like focused on what's really going on rather than head in the sand, not knowing what's going on. And there's a huge difference right now. And I think that when people say, I really feel this, and then other people say, wow, I don't feel anything. I think it's a matter of, do you feel? A lot of people are too busy to feel. And those of us that are really in our heads more these days, like you are, like I am, I think that we're having a much easier time being able to access. I listen to so much news, it's crazy. But I was the paddy wagon 10 years ago, and I was a whistleblower 5 years ago that got in trouble for saying too much to the public. So I let it go, but my body was wounded. I exposed too much. And so I didn't think I was going to make it. And then I got on this product, and I've come back from the grave twice in the last 5 years. And I say the grave facetiously because I'm still here, and I'm probably better in my head than I've ever been, but my body was wounded. And I haven't found anything that's helped me more than C60 Evo. I had a line of supplements, which I still do, and I take them maybe 2 days a week. There's 10. And I've got the glutathione in the fridge and the minerals in the fridge and this and that. But the ESS 60 daily, I'm religious because I can do this and nothing else and feel great. So for me and Chris is the scientist. He owns the lab that's been making carbon-60 molecules, fullerenes, longer than anyone else in the world, consistently for 31 years. So they were an easy choice when I was promoting my healing, which was just remarkable, miracle, in my opinion. Chris and I vaguely knew each other. And then when we suggested working together, my audience and friends bringing all these people that need to heal from so many things. And we designed a really extensive lineup of products because we haven't found anything it doesn't fix. We even have lip renewal. And I don't mean even, because the poor guys at the lab that have to fill the tubes and cool the wax and all this for $7. Please, it's a lot of work for a small, but you know what? If you put this on your lips, like Chris is our model, you will infuse ESS 60 into your lips. And it's so lovely, natural, organic, vegan mint. You can lick it and it tastes like mint. You can smell it and it's really lovely mint, and it will last a really long time on your lips. So we add it to a lot of our gift sets or collection sets as kind of a bonus. But we have the mint flavor, which is really great in my opinion, and also an unflavored for people that don't like mint. And they come in these little boxes. Everything that we sell comes in a really lovely gift box. Like this is our facial serum, slides out, our advanced facial serum, and it's really a beautiful presentation. The new 2-part sets come in their own little box, and everything is gift wrapped so that when you get it, it feels like a present. And after a day or two, you know it's a gift because all of a sudden you're seeing surprising results. So here's our 2 new products, the duo sets, because we've got the oil in 1 bottle combination with the ESS 60. It's the activator. And then the taller bottle has the UTH29 peptide, which is really making a difference. So you can do the facial serum, which is on the left, the blue bottles, and it is in addition to, we also have our advanced facial serum, which has been a huge seller because you put it on, smells so great, and you wake up with smoother, softer, plumper skin. Like first day, I was shocked. Almost every friend of mine has called me the first day and said, "What?" And I'm like, "Yep, told you." So again, I can't say it's going to happen for you, but it sure might. So then this advanced product, this next one with the 2 parts, you've got the wonderful ESS 60 plus this peptide that seems to be getting wonderful results with wrinkles, lines, scars, and it just adds a few more elements to your healing. And then, you know, as we're listening to customers, we're not just designing products for the fun of it. I'm out there reading comments. Chris and Rob and Fabio are in the lab, like coming up with miracles and things that haven't been done. And then they came up with this hair renewal with this miracle molecule that's great for hair and skin, the UTH29. So we're using elements or ingredients that I don't think I've ever seen in other product combinations. Our advanced facial serum has chia seed oil as the base. Like, I'd never heard of that, but my formulator had unbelievable skin and she was 69. I said, "Come on, what are you doing?" Chia seed oil. So I'm like writing notes, you know, and our facial serums are getting great reviews. And now you can use this on your head, or you can use the 2-part to bring your hair back. And when I say this on your head, for me, it's about bringing my color back, but it's also in combination with taking it inside with the oil. Really important that you treat yourself inside and out if you want to be dealing with all your cells, all your mitochondria. You just don't want to put it on the surface, although we do intake 60% of what goes on our skin into our body. Right, Chris?
Yeah, I believe that's a number that we've read before.
You know, also Mark Woodyat, who's in the comments, writes, C60 Evo takeout, quote, "My mental clarity and stamina allowed for me to stay up for nearly 5 days straight during an emergency. It works! Exclamation point. I found out 2 years ago watching Alfred and Patty. So that is Mark Woodyat's testimonial that he's just put in the chat. Do you have any comments, Chris or Patty?
Yeah. Well, one, sorry you are going whatever emergency for which you need to stay up for 5 days. Sorry you went through that. That's obviously not a good situation. And in general, staying awake for 5 days is very traumatic physically. And that piece does fit in with our comments. I mean, with our understanding and consistent report of better sleep. So you may have been able to catnap here and there and found yourself with significantly more rest off of a short catnap than you were getting before. That's typically what is reported. I like a business coach of mine once shared that he went for fit, and I'm a scientist, so I love binary data. I like it used to be this way and now it's this way. It's not like, oh, it's in the middle and I feel good. No, what we like is I used an alarm clock for 50 years. When I started taking the C60 Evo formula, I stopped using the alarm clock. And when I go off of the C60 Evo formula, I start using the alarm clock again because I need to. So that happens kind of regularly. So glad Mark was able to take advantage. Again, there were some comments about the wrinkles and lines and scars. These are actually medical conditions, and we're not making any claims about those medical conditions. This is an anecdotal story. And take it with a grain of salt. In fact, it's always better to assume anecdotal stories won't happen to you. And this is kind of like the model that we have right now is kind of like the Google model. You know how like all Google products say beta because they're all under beta. Even if they've been on the market for 10 years, they're still in beta. This is a beta version. We're putting out some pretty cutting edge stuff that needs more research behind it, but we want to make it available because we're getting such amazing testimonials. And I'm going to have to be careful with this one. This is on our Google My Business page. So you can go find this, do a search for C60 Evo, and you'll find a Google listing and you can find this review. This is from 4 weeks ago. Joanna was amazing. Joanna works in our customer service. She is absolutely amazing. So kind and courteous. She was very attentive to my needs and not dismissive in any way, like so many other customer service representatives that I have dealt with. I will definitely be reordering your product. P.S. I love your product. I bought it for some hair situations and I've already seen improvements. I'm paraphrasing there. I haven't yet even taken the product yet for a full month. I've tried tons and tons of other things out there, having spent tons of money and have not had any luck until I found this product. Many thanks, Maureen. What a great testimonial. And, we just continue to get testimonial after testimonial about the products.
Yeah, and Chris, Mark Wyatt says, Chris, I can attest that I took cat naps during that time. So he's just right up your scientific findings.
Yeah, it really is. It really seems to be the case that there is a more profound sleep happening when it does sleep. And even my business partner, there's not, as a not my business partner, in this case, my business coach, there are nights where he's up late coaching or, attending, cocktail dinners in order to kind of connect with different business owners. And he'll end up with not that much sleep and says that he wakes up and is able to just go throughout the day. And I can test this from my wife and my perspective. We were in a conference in Dubai earlier this year, and we didn't miss a beat from a jet lag perspective, right? Like you're talking about a significant time difference, and we just didn't miss a beat. And a lot of that is when you do get the sleep that you're able to get, it just seems to be more profound, and that helps.
Right. Now on the screen you can see the web page that ESS60C60evo.com has kindly made for ExopoliticsTV, and you can get there by going to c60evo.com /Alfred LW, and we'll put that in the description to this program. And if you use a coupon code, that'll be down there as well, which is EVALW for C60 Evo, EVALW number 1. And Patty, correct me if I'm off on this, but you'll obtain 10% off of your purchase. And you'll obtain 20% off of monthly subscriptions. And Exopolitics TV, which we are actually part of the World Good News Network, which we co-founded with Buckminster Fuller in the 1970s, after which the fullerene molecule is named. So there's actually an organic integrity to this whole exercise. We get, I'm reading the notes here, 15% of your purchase as support. I don't know whether that's correct or not.
Yep.
But that's what I have in my notes here. So it's like there's a pay it forward, there's integrity going back to Buckminster Fuller and the founding of this network. The rats lived 90% longer, and by us taking it, we're doing whatever the rats did. Well, we're doing whatever humans do, and it remains to be seen. And Mark just said more. Chris's metaphor to the paddy wagon was super insightful, no pun intended, right? And then he said, Mark says, I have narcolepsy with cataplexy, a condition which necessitates napping, and I go deep into REM in about 1.5 minutes. I understand better now why it worked. I will be ordering more. Thanks for mentioning my comment. On a side note, I took 1 to 3 tablespoons a day as a first month trial test. During that time, I was composing and recording music prolifically. Thanks, Chris, Alfred, and Patty.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot to be taking daily. I'm just a little person, 5'2", and I take a tablespoon a day of the olive oil. And when I got hooked on the coconut MCT, which is so good in your morning coffee, oh my God, it's so good. It has less than half of the C60, no matter how much we put in the mixture. It runs for 3 weeks, no heat, no air, no light. And the ESS 60 in the olive oil is 0.86 milligrams that it will hold. And the olive oil is the highest by far. The avocado oil is fabulous also. It holds 0.6. And the MCT coconut holds 0.35 milligrams per milliliters. So my suggestion is take twice as much, and then you'll get the same boost as you do from the olive oil. So they are different levels of strength. And so if you want a really big buzz, you want to go for the olive oil. If you want a gentle buzz and it's delicious in your coffee, you go for that. And that's why we have the 2 different sampler sets where you can buy all 3 flavors. And whenever you buy a combination of our products, you're going to save 15%. So if you want to scroll down, well, let's talk about all the products here. We've got the 3 bottles on the left of the 3 flavors I just mentioned, and they come in 4-ounce, 8-ounce, 16-ounce, and 32-ounce bottles. I don't know anybody else selling 32-ounce jugs of the good C60 Evo. It's a really wonderful amount if you've got a big family, if you've got an office that you want to see, do a test on your office, give everybody a spoonful for a few days in a row, and you might have twice the production. I think it's an amazing idea for a boss with a lot of employees to do a little test and see if they do get much more out of their people, and then they stay healthy longer and they work with more mental clarity.
We certainly give product to every one of our employees here. Like, that's for sure.
My family is finally all hooked and convinced. Like, they're asking me, I feel bad. Can I have another bottle? It's like, we're family. Yes, I'm flattered you're asking. So to the right, let's keep going, is the Advanced Facial Serum with 21 natural, vegan, or ingredient ingredients. And as you can see, my bottle is close to empty because I use it in the morning, and then I use it somehow during the day, in the middle of the day, if I just want to kind of put like fresh oil on. It just makes your skin feel so good. And then in the middle, we have the 2-part facial serum, which is the C60 Evo Youth Renew. And it's YOUTH, but the secret ingredient is the peptide UTH29. We've got the 2 flavors of lip balm that are fabulous, and then capsules. And our bottle is now dark, that matches the rest. But these are for people that don't want to take a spoonful of oil. You don't like the taste of the oil. You don't like the whatever. You can take capsules instead. But also when you're traveling, capsules are the ticket, because you can put a bunch of them in a bag, but you can't take an 8-ounce bottle. So good idea to grab capsules if you have those needs. And then we have the dog and the cat formulas, which is our strongest, C60 Evo Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. The cat formula has a little salmon essence, natural, and the dog formula has bacon essence. And we've had a few men write us and say, I want bacon, so get the dog formula. It's basically the olive oil, same as we all take, with a little bit of bacon essence. So, we just do that for dogs, so they love it. We've got a testimonial. We've got all the products in the store. And the new hair renewal is brand new, and you'll find it under shop in our menu bar. The things are kind of spread out because we have so many products now, but these 2 are the newest ones. And again, if you sign up for a monthly subscription, no matter what you buy, you're going to save 20%. If you buy a few things at a time, such as these little groups here, the inside and out set, which is what we recommend, you take it on the inside, and then anything else you do on your skin, your hair, your lips, you're going to get a lot more benefit. And you're going to save 15% off each item when you buy a group. So the best thing is to buy a group, 15%, sign up for a monthly subscription, 20% off, and then use Alfred's code to get 10% off your first order at checkout. And that is our initials, EV, his initials, ALW, and you're going to get the biggest discount by doing that. Here's the sampler sets, which is the only way you can buy the little 2-ounce bottles. They're only about 2 weeks, but this way you can try all the flavors. And we have the 4-ounce sampler set. For Christmas, we're going to be doing 32-ounce jugs called the Big Bottle Gift for people that want to really stock up. Not a bad idea considering what's going on lately. So we've got the flavors spread out. You can buy 2-ounce, 4-ounce, 8-ounce. And then if you do the subscription, I would like to say today was one of my first mornings where I woke up and we had 92 subscription refills. Now, that to me is a sign that we've got a really solid base of happy customers. And when they get a refill, they've signed up for a monthly subscription, and you can cancel with a phone call to any of our wonderful people or an email, and we cut you. We cut your subscription right away. We don't try and talk you into staying with us, but we're doing more than 50% of all the subscription people are still with us, which says to me the products work. So now we've got the pet lover set, where you can save 15% buying a bottle for you, bottle for your dog, or a bottle for you, bottle for your cat, or the 2 bottles for them, and then you can get yourself a bigger bottle. Now here is the biggest deal of all, which is to buy a case of 12 bottles. And you can buy them in any size, and you can buy them in combination of all 3 flavors, or choose your flavor, and we will send you 2-ounce case, 4, 8, 16, or 32-ounce case if you really want to stock up for the winter. You just want to keep it out of direct sun and away from direct heat like an oven or a stove. Don't keep it next to your oven or stove. Don't put it in a windowsill. Just stick it in a cabinet like you would your extra virgin, expensive, nice olive oil, and it will last 2 to 3 years from the time you open it. Is it 2 or 3 years, Chris?
3.
3. Okay, to be accurate. So you've got 3 years, but most people get through it sooner. There's a lot of information on the website. There's testimonials. But again, the testimonials are where you're going to see what people are saying about the products. Don't listen to us. Listen to the people that are taking it, or do listen to us and them. But, when we see this many customers and the Google reviews, which everybody can find, are very public, everybody's benefiting. We have very few returns. And my favorite was a customer that said, she sent us a photo and she said, my box came crushed and my bottle leaked all over and I brought it in the house and here's a photo. Could you please replace it? And of course we did. And then she wrote us back, thank you. And I have to confess, the box wasn't that dirty. It was just crushed. So I took it, tore it open, and rubbed my body with all of the oil that spilled out. I mean, to me, that was funny. It's like, lady, knock yourself out, But again, it's a sign of people are loving the products. Somebody wrote and said, my dog tipped his bottle over and he drank half the bottle. Do I need to worry? I was curious, to hear from her in a week, but we never did again. And, again, you just want to keep it like away from pets, away from children, because we don't want anybody taking too much. But luckily, you can't take too much olive oil. It's all really good for you. And the ESS 60 appears to have proven the same. I think I'm a test because I've taken so much since the day I started, and it all came from Chris and Robert's lab. So
Now,
I love C60 Evo, and I'm really proud of our company.
we have one more question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This may be for Chris, or it could be for Patty. This is again from Mark. He says, thanks, Alfred. I have the olive oil. If there's an opportunity to address this, I was wondering how the C60 ISS 60 interbody functions relative to, say, the cannabinoid network for immunoresponse, interbody network, for lack of a better description. Thank you all. Many blessings. C60 ESS 60 would be so helpful for so many people. Does it protect against radiation and or nanotechnology?
Yeah, so let's talk about kind of cannabinoid. That's not a system that I'm that familiar, so I just did a quick search. The effect of cannabinoids on immune function appear to be transients, which allow the inhibitory effect to be overcome when the immune system needs to be activated during infections. What this makes me think of is like during infections and during the typical cytokine storm, what we're managing is inflammation. Now, we're not allowed to say that we address that type of inflammation, but if we have, and we have so many positive testimonials, but if we have positive testimonials related to immune function, then it's probably related to something that we can't claim yet, but that is happening, and we just need to do more research. So I would throw that kind of potentially in the arena of inflammation. And then his second question was related to radiation or nanotechnology. Radiation we can speak to. There's an original study. This was I think it was on mice actually, where the presence of the ESS60 molecule showed benefits in terms of having protective effects for those mice against different types of radiation. I haven't kind of visited that paper in a while, but I do remember that paper existing. And then nanotechnology, that kind of depends on what you mean. In fact, our product is a nanotechnology. The reality is the definition of nanotechnology says anything that is produced to be used as a nanomaterial or in a nanoscale. And that certainly the product fits in that. Now, some people are like, oh, does this mean like is the NSA involved? And are you having Are you supporting, kind of robotic nano robots? And the reality is, if you look at this molecule, right, the short answer is no. But if you look at this molecule, it's 60 carbon atoms. As a species, we have a challenging time moving even one atom. In fact, IBM once published, this was a while ago, and I think it was with silicon atoms, where they had spelled out IBM and individual silicon atoms, right? So whatever the 50 atoms or something, and it was a big deal because they were able to manipulate these individual atoms. Well, this is only 60, so you're not turning this into any sort of antenna. It's not connecting. It can't do anything. Except really what it did in that original rat study, which was, those rats lived 90% longer than the control group. So, hopefully that addresses those questions.
Well, thank you very much. We're now coming up to the magic 60-minute mark, and so I think we're coming up towards some sort of completion. And I wondered if you all had any subjects that you had not that you had wanted to raise that you had not a chance to, and maybe some closing observations that you wanted to leave with our audience.
Well, I'll just say one thank you to you, Alfred, and then also thank you to Mark for providing his testimonial and asking some questions. Really, really appreciate that, and really appreciate you, Alfred.
And okay. I do too. We go back 10 years at least doing shows together. Used to be about crop circles and UFO science, and now we've evolved to how to save the human species if possible, with one of the many great remedies moving forward. The person that was talking about the CBD, if we think of CBD 5 or 10 years ago, nobody was talking about it as that it was okay. It was like illegal because it was, from that plant. And now it's common that there's wonderful CBDs to help people. I'm thinking that ESS 60 is kind of the new breakthrough for this decade, the 20s, the 2020s, because for the next bunch of years, people are going to be hearing about it, trying it, and realizing when you take something that gives you benefits this quickly, it must work. So I'm just going to say that of all the possible choices of ESS 60 or carbon 60 that people could choose from, you're going to want to get one from a real lab that's been guaranteed to be safe for human consumption. ESS 60 has that clarification and the trademark. And then the other C60s that my partners sell are for industrial purposes. And they've been doing that for 31 years, and selling to research institutions around the world. We have a pedigree at ESS 60 that people can count on. And in my opinion, if I'm going to take something in my body or give it to my family or give it to my pets, I want to know it's the good stuff. And that's why I'm partners with Chris and Robert of the famous lab that has been used for all the testing of carbon 60 fullerenes for all these years. So yay. I want to just say to everybody, give it a try. And you can get in with all those discounts and Alfred's code $67.50 to try a small 4-ounce bottle. It'll last you close to a month of the olive oil. And I'll bet within days you're going to be sold on the fact that, oh my gosh, I can feel better. And that's what we're here to do. It's just to surprise people with a product that actually works.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again. And we want to thank everyone in the chat, Mark and others, for participating in our program. And we look forward to our panel next month again. And don't go away so we can plan our next panel. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alfred.
Bye, Alfred.